first of our star stories, Mr. George Fischer.
Oh boy, this is like really hard because it's hard to talk about yourself, but I will give it a try. I am your keynote speaker today due to budget cuts. Just kidding. So, my star story. Okay. The Resilience Chronicles from Doubter to Lead Learner. My story, there had some ups and it had some downs, but I gotta tell you, my life is great. All right, I love everything. I love being part of this family. It just made me feel better getting over a lot of the different things. So I did this graphic novel style. I am the son of a German mother and an Austrian father who came here to the United States. So I'm first generation American. With that family came, everybody has the family. You got the good family, you got the bad family. I had an uncle who told me I would never amount to anything. Just told me I was dumb as dirt. So, and it was an uncle that I actually respected, and it just really kind of crushed me there in my early years. So, issue number one, the GPA of doom. When I was in high school, I had the alpha male father. I nailed everything down. I had to be on class. Don't you dare skip. And I'm a rule follower, so I didn't skip. Then I got to college, and I was like, wow, I don't have to. My parents aren't going to be there. Wow, I can skip class. So I kind of let that late inner child out. The bad thing was, I went up and down. I was probably a couple times on double secret probation. For 3 years I dropped out of college because I had a girlfriend. It was a very toxic relationship, and believe it or not, she didn't want me going to college. She's like, oh no, you got this, you got this. I was a short order cook. I got this. I found out later on, obviously, that the reason she didn't like that was because there were girls at college. Oh. So, but then that ended. I met one of my friends, and I wound up applying to East Stroudsburg. The only bad thing was when I applied to East Stroudsburg, I had to figure out how many credits I needed from Bucks County Community College to go on. 3 years I didn't go to school. I was 3 stupid credits away from graduating. That's one of the things I'm still so mad about. But I got accepted to East Stroudsburg. I went to East Stroudsburg. While I was there, I got accepted into the junior year Marburg program in Germany. I'm going to talk a lot about imposter syndrome. I have that really bad. I was like, there's no way, I'm not smart enough to be an exchange student. Hey, I was. So I was able to turn the corner there. Like I said, I went to East Stroudsburg. I came back. Stroudsburg made me take my credits. I had enough credits in Germany, but they made me come back. So I finished up. My major was in German, but I wasn't willing to move to New York or Washington, D.C. So I went into a dead-end job. I worked for a payroll company. It was good for a while. Some nice friends, met some nice friends, things like that. But then I knew I needed a change. And one of the weird things was, it came to me in threes. First of all, there was, at LaSalle University had a master's program test, or they were accepting applicants. So, all right, let's give it a try. Number 2 was, my mother actually made a comment about if there's 100 adults in a room, it always seems that these kids gravitate towards me, towards George. And the third one was, for those of you old enough to remember, was Dear Abby. I was in the break room at this dead-end job. I walked into the break room, and there was the paper. It was open to Dear Abby. I'm like, what the hell, I'll read it. So I was reading it, and the advice that somebody wrote was, Dear Abby, I want to go back to college, but it's going to take me 4 years to go back to school. I'll be 40 years old by the time I do this. What should I do? And she just wrote back the words that really profoundly hit me was, well, how old will you be in 4 years if you don't go back to school? So, and then again, imposter syndrome. LaSalle was graduate school. I'm not smart enough to go to graduate school. Maybe I pull, no offense to East Stroudsburg, maybe I could pull off a bachelor's at East Stroudsburg, but there's no way I could do a master's. Well, I did it. So I got it. I went to LaSalle. I had good professors and bad professors. My first professor, the first one, man, he was great. He encouraged me. He recognized the imposter syndrome, and he helped me through it. 12 credits away from graduating, one of the professors thought I was cheating. Hand to God, I was not cheating. Just, I don't know what it was, just she did not care for me. She thought I was cheating. I had to do extra work on top of the work that I had to do already. So, and also at that time, I had been engaged to someone, and she decided that in the middle of grad school, that might be a good time to leave me. She didn't leave me for another man. She didn't leave me for another woman. She left me for another state. She just decided, I don't love you anymore, and I'm moving to Montana. Yay! So I overcame that. While I was student teaching, we were sitting in a circle. I'll never forget this. And LaSalle had always taught us you don't want to judge the student as they come up to you. You don't want to listen to the third grade teacher if you're teaching fourth grade you're not supposed to. We do, but you're not supposed to. So while we're sitting in a circle, I see my supervisor all of a sudden kind of look over my head and nod like this. And in the reflection behind her, I could see that professor that thought I was cheating going, he's the one. And I later talked to my co-op, and he said, what happened that summer at LaSalle? I couldn't believe she wouldn't let it go. So eventually I did get a job. I wound up working for a school district. I got my long-term sub. Unfortunately, I met a mentor there who wanted to mentor me in more ways than just professionally. The joke was, George was hired to be a date for Cindy. Oh, that's wonderful. I started the job in October because there was a classroom that got run over by a wonderful teacher. She left me like a month and a half plans. But she got run over by the sixth graders. I had a real nice rapport with them. It worked out really, really nice. But I started in October. November report cards were due. I had 30 kids in the class, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home this Friday. And I worked all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, doing nothing but report card comments because the principal at the time said, these are legal documents. You wanna make sure that everything is all set. I got in on Monday, and I was like, oh no, I forgot to write my lesson plans down. Everything was in the book. I knew what I was doing. I just forgot to write it down. So I said to this mentor, I can't believe that I forgot this. I'm gonna have to wing it today. 3 days later, I got called into the office, and I was told, you're too new to wing lessons. So I was like, oh, that's great. I can't even trust her. Some of the good things that happened during that time, though, I started volunteering for something called PETC. It was one of the predecessors to Pete and C. It was great. I couldn't believe they had actually had me working with volunteers. And by the way, I highly, highly recommend Pete and C. We look for volunteers. Do a commercial here. We look for volunteers all the time. You get room and board, and you get to see the sessions that we work with you. So, but it's wonderful. During that time, I got my library media certification. I started in a new district, my current one. I was in elementary school for 8 years, and then all of a sudden, June 1st rolls around when we get our new assignments. I was told, people are coming out of break room, oh dude, I'm so sorry. I'm like, what's going on? 10 minutes at 12, the deadline was 12. The principal comes to me and says, the middle school principal sent you a letter. What's this? What's this? It said, welcome to Klinger Middle School. I was devastated, like, after 8 years. What? Are you kidding me? I was so mad. But the great thing was, I do love middle school now. Middle school has grown on me. I would be so mad if they told me, you're going back to elementary. I loved it. During that time, I also started volunteering for ISTE, and a fun thing with ISTE was it was in Philadelphia, and the following year was in San Diego. I was talking to the bosses, I'm like, you wouldn't have to retrain us. So a whole bunch of us wound up going to ISTE in San Diego, and now every year they fly us out to wherever ISTE is. This year was in San Antonio. Middle school, I started a TV studio. That's the most, I'm very proud of that. It was an old closet, and one of my sessions will be about how you can get a TV studio in there, at least what I did to do it. Then I had the new principal, came along, he offered new challenges. Let me just say, he wrote up 15 people in the first 9 months he was there, and it was for stupid stuff. Sorry, one of it was me, so. The first brush with KTI. So the superintendent, he wanted to, we had a ski and snowboard trailer, and he asked Pre-Deisler if he could get this ski and snowboard trailer to P&C. I said, yeah, sure, I know a couple people. I know Eric Berno back there, and I was just like, all right, let me write him. So I wrote Berno, and I said, hey, we have this ski and snowboard trailer, can we get it there? He was gracious, he said, yeah, that sounds great. We got it there. Superintendent comes along, he strut like a peacock at P&C, like, oh, look at what we got, look at what we got. So then Brandon Lutz, the former president of PAECT, said, hey, you should try this thing called KTI. This was in 2016. You should try this thing called KTI. So what is it? He told me a little bit about it. And I was like, well, the principal's not going to recommend me. So I said something to the superintendent. I said, hey, would you recommend me for this really cool program, KTI? He looked at me in front of Brandon Lutz and he said, what do you do that's innovative? I was devastated. I'm like, if I had any guts at the time, I would have said, got your ski and snowboard trailer here past the deadline, So, but it was just more setbacks that I was able to overcome. So now I come full circle. In 2023, thank you, Kevin Deisler, I was nominated to be a KTI star, sitting right there. It was fantastic. I made a lot of friends. The group that I was with, as I said before, we called ourselves Team-ish, and you can see a lot of what we're doing there. Just a bunch more of the photos of me at school, me with the Team-ish, just more people that I met through KTI, going to ISTE. And then I just wanted to finish with this. I figure I can't be the only person with imposter syndrome. So I looked it up. The beauty of imposter syndrome is you vacillate between extreme egomania and a complete feeling of, oh my God, I'm a fraud. They're on to me. That's from Tina Fey. And then Tom Hanks also said, how do I get here? When are they going to discover that I am in fact a fraud and take everything away from me? So I felt like I was in pretty good company. That's it. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Just make sure you don't overcome your stuff.